A's and C notes by the layers. I love it when you call me Big Papa.
You're listening to the Tom and Jerry Show on 770 WTNJ. Welcome to the Tom and Jerry Show. I'm Jerry.
I'm Tom.
We're going to get into a little bit of the ALCS and the NLCS. Maybe get into a couple of the preview of the games this weekend. And we had a game last night, too.
Yes,
so
we did.
We'll get into that, too. First, let's get into the ALCS. The Yankees got swept.
Yeah, and they just showed, I don't want to say no effort, but just
no heart.
No heart, yeah,
no
exactly.
Heart.
That's exactly the word I was going to use. Just no heart,
it's just, I don't even know how to explain the Yankees right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a whole lineup of superstars, and to bat 190 something,
and all those hitters
series.
were hot going into the playoffs. Cano is the hottest player in baseball going into the postseason, and
it's just it kind of boggles my mind of how they could get into the playoffs and they could just fall apart.
And CeCe was on track. Not that he had a pretty rough game yesterday, but towards the end of the season, me not being a Yankees fan, it felt like it was the Yankees' year in a way. CeCe was on track, Cano was on track, Granderson was doing good. Everyone was stepping up. Swisher had a great year. He had a little slump, but he started to get back, and no one knows what happened. The dedication just wasn't there that series, and you can't blame it on Jeter going down, because I know he's the captain and everything like that, but there's superstars all over that field, and one injury should not be.
And the saddest thing is Jeter was the only one that was hitting in the playoffs.
Really, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just, you got Cano that went on, the worst? They said
26 or 27, one of those.
Oh, that's for a guy of his stature. Yeah. The way he hits, to go 0 for 28, 0 for 30,
Not
whatever
to mention
it was.
In a free agency year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Swisher supposedly, wants big-time money after this year. Also, I don't know if the Yankees sign him.
I don't think they're going to. They have a lot of this. I heard on this morning. They have Ibanez free agent, Cano free agent, Swisher free agent, Granderson free agent. Yeah. They're obviously not signing all four of those.
The only one I could see them signing is Cano.
Cano's the only one I could see not leaving the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly.
They know how important he is.
Exactly, because it's not just his bat. He's
the best second baseman in the game.
His glove is ridiculous.
Him and Brandon
also.
Phillips.
Yeah, but the biggest story probably of this playoffs is Alex Rodriguez.
And I just want to start out by saying it's completely unfair what Joe Girardi has done to Alex Rodriguez to bench him first out of everyone else on the team.
Oh, I know.
And then slowly started benching Granderson and Swisher. Yeah. It doesn't make up for it.
The thing is I'll put this on the record. I don't think Girardi's coming back.
I don't think he is either. Not after a sweep.
Yeah,
not after a sweep.
I mean, I think I heard it. They said it was the first time in 32 years that the Yankees got swept.
Yeah, that's not going to last. And if George Steinbrenner was alive,
this wouldn't
even happen.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just I don't know if there was something else going on between Girardi and A-Rod.
Yeah.
But to bench, I mean, he was slumping. But to bench a guy,
benching is one thing,
of his stature, yes, he makes the most on the Yankees. He makes the most in the majors.
That's what makes him scrutinized.
But
I mean,
you know what? The guy can hit, though.
Oh, of course.
He can
change the game in one swing.
Exactly.
Just tie a game, break a game.
So, I mean, I just don't think it was fair to do what they did to A-Rod. And then to make up a whole big deal about him taking the ball, writing his number on it, and throwing to a girl in the stands. I mean, that's just everybody's just reaching for things to like.
Yeah, they're looking for things to get on top of A-Rod.
The thing is with him, he's never going to be loved like they love Jeter.
Honestly, I hope he leaves the Yankees because he doesn't deserve what they've been doing to him.
Exactly.
They really don't.
Exactly.
He really doesn't. He's a Hall of Fame player. One of the best players on their team, and this is how they treat him. He
said that he loves playing for the Yankees, and and I just heard that he won't waive his no trade clause. He's
got that trade.
He's got a blanket no trade clause, so that means he has to accept a trade to anybody. Yeah. There isn't teams. He has to accept a trade.
Yeah.
So. At first, you're hearing rumors that he will waive the trade, the trade clause. to go somewhere else. But then I also heard last night that he's not gonna. So I mean, but like, and I was talking to someone, and I was like, why don't you boo Granderson?
Yeah.
Oh,
we've had so many arguments over
he doesn't
this.
make as much money as A-Rod.
Doesn't.
But what is it? You're going to tell me Granderson's on food stamps?
Yeah, exactly.
The guy makes $15 million a year.
Yeah. Swisher's making $10 million a year.
He might not make like what A-Rod makes, the $10 million more. But I mean, to make $15 million,
didn't put up the years that A-Rod did previously.
Exactly.
That's why A-Rod gets the money he gets.
And it's not like he didn't like. First of all, he was hurt for like a little less than half the season, but he still hit like what 275.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was hurt and he had over close to 60. And
the guy is 38 years old. He's not going to hit 45, 50 home runs a year anymore. It's just not going to happen. He's not going to hit for 120 something RBIs either.
Yeah.
So maybe you should start looking at maybe he did hit 275. That's a decent year.
Yeah, you can't complain about that.
So I mean, you look at Granderson. Granderson batted what 240,
maybe even lower than that. With how many strikeouts?
He had 43 home runs, but he also had 140 something strikeouts.
Oh yeah,
and hit 240. Yeah. So I mean, you love the home run. Yankees always love the home run.
I mean, they live and die by it. That's how they got
the average of their runs was 50% of home runs. So I mean, when you get into the playoffs, you can't rely on the home run because the pitching is going to be so much different. They're going to be so much harder, and you're going to be seeing all the top pitchers in the league.
Yeah, just look at the Tigers, and they don't need Miggy and the field because their pitching is shutting down everyone.
And that's another thing I told everybody. The Yankees were slumping. But you got to give some props to the pitching that they saw. The Orioles pitched them well too, and the Tigers pitched them ridiculously. So then if you look at A-Rod's getting pitched tougher than anybody on the Yankees.
Oh, of course.
Everybody's going to throw him their junk.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean you can't blame everything on A-Rod. So
and then the other thing about A-Rod. You replace him with a guy who went, 0 for 14 and maybe had the biggest error in the game in Game 3 that costed them the game.
And the game yesterday, I mean, there was every, I did not see the Yankees winning that game at all.
Yeah.
At all.
You just had that feel that they gave up.
Yeah. You had Teixeira made 2 errors. Yeah. Teixeira made 2 errors, which never happens.
That's when you know.
That's when you know, exactly. And then you have CeCe give up 2 home runs, two run home runs.
I watched the first inning, and I can just tell something about CeCe wasn't CeCe. Yeah. He's been the past,
and he's actually getting his elbow checked out tomorrow or today.
Something just didn't seem right.
So I mean, but we'll get into the NLCS.
I can't believe the Cardinals and how they do this every year.
I don't know. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
And it's not like they have superstars on their team.
And that's the amazing thing. I really wonder how Pujols is feeling right now.
Oh, I know.
To leave this team, a winning team for decades, probably the most known NL team.
Yeah.
For $10 million to go to another team
that didn't even make the playoffs this year.
Now he's sitting down and his team's in the NLCS about to win.
And I honestly think that the Cardinals are going to win the World Series.
I picked the Giants in the beginning of the postseason. I just thought their pitching would be too much.
Yeah.
There's just something about this Cardinals team that just something in the postseason.
I mean, you go into that Game 5 of the NLDS.
They were down
6-0.
Yeah, and they were down to their last strike twice again in that game, and they still won. I don't know how.
It's
amazing.
Coach too. It's amazing.
New coach. It's not even La Russa anymore, and they still find ways to win.
I mean, they're up, 3-1 now?
3-1.
I think that series is over.
Yeah, the last game's in, Game 5's in St. Louis, too, so this is a great shot for them to close that.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Tigers team, the Tigers have the pitching, and they obviously have the hitting. I mean, they have a triple crown on their team. On their team.
It seems like they have everything. And everyone always questions their defense. They've seemed to be fine to me. Yeah. They're gelling on every single way of baseball right now. I
mean, Prince Fielder is actually a pretty good first baseman. I mean,
to look at him. The crazy thing is, Miguel Cabrera went from first or third this year, and he still won the Triple Crown.
Oh, I know.
And that's that just speaks for how good of a teammate he is.
I mean, the Yankees pitched him good during this whole series until that last game.
Yeah.
Because he hit a bomb.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Yankees pitching pitched well, too.
No, they did.
You know, they were the whole playoffs, they were giving up maybe the tops 2 runs. So it's like, you know, you look at it, if they would have hit...
Which they get paid to do. Look at that lineup.
I mean... You know, you have to think the Yankees could have gotten into the World Series, and the Yankees probably could have won it too.
They just don't have the
Kuroda pitch
type
good
team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They don't have the the runner over.
And Girardi tried putting that that lineup together. That in what game 3, I think.
Yeah, game 3. There was a lot of
with Gardner leading off.
Yeah. I would have played Gardner over Granderson.
Well, that's another thing. That's why I think. Granderson's expendable, because now, you can have Gardner for 10 times less of money.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And honestly, I think he's the best, fielder on their team.
And he's the only one on that team. But the aging Ichiro maybe, but he's the only one on that team that can get one of those base hits. Steal a base.
Exactly.
They bunt. He gets it there.
And I told everybody in the beginning of the season with Gardner hurt, when they were slumping, I really felt like that was the reason that Gardner not in that lineup. Because last year we were leading in stolen bases, which the Yankees never do.
Exactly.
So it's like this year you had A-Rod leading in stolen bases on the Yankees.
Like 13 or something, 14, 15.
That's sad. That's sad.
That's when he's missed half the year.
Yeah,
so.
That's sad. So, but we'll get into the Thursday night game. Seahawks at the 49ers.
Atrocious is all I could say. I mean, the defense played great. Both the defenses played great, but it was just...
I mean, it's just... Now I feel like the last 2 weeks, Alex Smith is really showing his colors. I really he was leading this year, and with quarterbacks.
But he doesn't bomb.
But he throws the 5 yards,
5, 10. 15.
I mean, he was leading the league in over 15-yard passes, but he throws it maybe once or twice a game.
Exactly.
And especially when you have Vernon Davis, one of the top. Probably he's a wide receiver.
At the tight end,
a tight end size.
He was like the first tight end to come into the league like that. That wide receiver.
He's quick. He's got good hands. He's strong as hell. So I mean,
he just looked flustered all night. Smith. He just looked like he couldn't do anything.
And you know what? The Seahawks are actually showing that
they're a real deal.
They are the real deal.
They're becoming a real deal.
Their defense is very good.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, Russell Wilson.
Although he had a bad game, you can see improvements with him every week.
Yeah, Russell. I mean, he was 9 for 23, 122 yards, and an interception. That interception was bad because he had Sidney Rice wide open.
Yeah.
So I mean, you throw it into triple coverage. I mean, Braylon Edwards isn't the greatest wide receiver to go up. He's not a Calvin Johnson to go up.
Can't go up there and get it.
In triple coverage. But I mean. Alex Smith, he had good numbers yesterday, but I just like that one interception was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, if he would have I mean, right at the beginning, he had Randy Moss wide open. He didn't see him till the last second, and he just threw
I think he saw that he was open and just missed that 1 second in his head, and he was like, I'm just going to throw him.
And even if Browner wasn't there, I still think he wasn't even getting to Randy Moss. I mean, that was a terrible throw.
It really was.
And I mean, Frank Gore had a game, 16 rushes, 131 yards, and he still got hurt at the end of the game.
So he's getting back problems.
He said he'll be ready for next week, but
that's big though.
I mean, but now the big thing is the 49ers are giving up 200-yard rushers back-to-back games. They didn't give that up last year till week 16.
Yeah, I know. I remember that. Yeah,
to Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Marshawn Lynch is a very good, running back. So I mean, you can't really. But I mean, the week before that,
something's going on with the 49ers.
I mean, and their defense, in the second half, they really, killed the Seahawks.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with their defense. I mean, you got to work on the running game a little bit, but this is on Alex Smith.
Yeah,
that defense
definitely.
is top 5, top 2, or whatever you would call it.
Definitely.
Smith really needs to step up. He needs to take those chances because he has that great defense behind him. He needs to take deep chances.
And I mean, Alden Smith was babying Breno Giacomini.
Yeah.
I mean, he only had one sack, but the whole game he was in the backfield.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then you also have Justin Smith on the other side.
That's probably why they couldn't double team him because then you have Justin Smith.
That's a nasty front seven.
Yeah.
You got Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman,
Brooks, the other side of the linebacker. It's just scary.
But it's kind of surprising that they've given up 200-yard rushes back to back.
I mean, that front seven can shut down anyone, but
I honestly think if they could get a top, if they would have picked up Peyton Manning, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a good front line. That's not a problem.
No.
They have a good front line.
They can run the ball on anyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyone.
Frank Gore is top 10
Hunter behind him.
Top 10 running back, I think, this year. But it's just, you look at that defense. You look at that defense. That defense is that defense is a Super Bowl defense. That's a Super Bowl defense.
Everything.
And then then you look at their offense, and I mean, Randy Moss.
He can make catches.
Towards the end of his career, I mean, they don't use him as much as I thought they would. He's in maybe one play every 4 downs. Which is amazing because I think he's still better than
I remember watching. It wasn't a Thursday night game. It was a game against the Giants. Defenses still have respect for him. A safety was backing up 20 yards past Moss. That shows they still have respect for the guy.
Because he's a deep threat. I mean, for a guy that at his age, he's still quick.
Oh yeah,
he's always got the hands. He's always going to have the hands.
You don't lose that hands.
I honestly think he's still better than Crabtree. Crabtree's at number one. I think he's better than him.
I've never liked.
I mean,
Crabtree.
to have him, Crabtree was supposed to be a top wide receiver coming into the league, and I mean, you also do have Alex Smith, so I can't I just don't think Alex Smith is as good as everybody thinks he is.
I think they added too many wide receivers in the offseason.
Yeah.
With Manningham and Moss. Yeah. Now they still have Ginn, who's one of the most explosive players in the league.
I mean, he almost broke off a nice little punt return yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
But
he can make an explosive play. Just throw him behind the line of scrimmage, set up a little screen, and he can be like the Percy Harvin of the Vikings and what he does for that team.
And I mean, in the beginning of the game, I think it was the first quarter, the second quarter, Turbin, the running back for the Seahawks, dropped a touchdown pass.
Wow.
I mean, you're looking at that. They were up 3-0. You're looking at a 10-0 lead right there,
and they only got to do is pound the ball.
And they only gave up 6 points to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to think what could have happened if he would have caught that touchdown pass.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really say, it was going to be a touchdown pass, but at least it would have brought it to the 1 or the 2 yard
exactly.
line. And then you have Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got to think about
and that could have been the game right there. 10-0.
Yeah.
Keep pounding the ball with Lynch.
Yeah.
That could have wrapped it up.
But I mean, the Seahawks are unbeatable at home.
Oh, no one can beat them.
I mean, I don't.
New England can't go in there and beat them.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You have New England go in there and they only gave up I think it was 10 points to the Patriots, 20 points to the Patriots. But and
if they somehow. I know it's going to be tough for them now, though, because they're 0-3 in the division already.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough. They're going to have to outright beat the other teams.
I still think the 49ers got that division.
Cardinals are slipping. Their O-line is just awful.
I mean,
Terrible
Cobb got hurt.
Yeah.
They had Skelton in. I mean...
The Rams, they're good, but they still need time. Jeff Fisher needs time with that team. He needs at least a year. Yeah. He's done magical things with that team.
I still think they need a top wide receiver.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Because you have Amendola. Yeah, he's a good wide receiver, but I don't think he's a number one.
If they had a nice receiver for Bradford with Steven Jackson in the backfield, that nice defense with Laurinaitis and Chris Long. They have
Cortland Finnegan.
Yeah, Cortland. They have a nice team.
They have a very good team. Chris Long, But the thing that I wanted to talk about was that chop block at the end of the game.
Oh, man.
I mean, that was a bad call.
Yeah.
I mean, a chop block is, when he's engaged, you go below the knee.
And you can clearly tell he
hit him at the waist.
Yeah,
he hit him at the waist. You know, you can't call that. Especially at the end of the game.
Yeah,
they didn't call it first down anyway. And I mean, I've never seen this before. Harbaugh declined it.
I think he did it because
he wanted.
They can go for like an onside kind of thing on the kick.
Yeah. So I mean, they didn't even score anyway. So they just ran out the clock.
Yeah. They just needed. They just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good game, like defensive wise.
Yeah, you always gotta love the defensive games, but it was like slow paced in a way. It wasn't
exactly. So, but you want to get into weekend's games?
Yeah, let's see what matchups we got.
Let's go over them.
I know we got the Cowboys and the Panthers.
Yeah,
which would be it's gotta be a big, huge bounce back game.
That
for the
is a must win for the Cowboys. Must win for the Cowboys,
especially after the debacle last week with the 26 seconds.
They had no business losing. They had no business losing that game.
26 seconds and one timeout. And they got one playoff.
And they should. And on NFL Network, I was watching. They showed the Falcons game. They had the ball with 26 seconds left. They got 3 plays off. 3 plays.
Wow.
Cowboys got 0. You know, and.
It's hard to like tell who to blame because like you saw Romo on the field, just like he was smiling. I
blame it all on Jason Garrett.
And when they would show Garrett on the sideline, he wasn't like going crazy. He wasn't like let's go. Well, he was just sitting there.
You got Romo. You got Romo trying to he was motioning towards the sideline that he couldn't hear a play. You know, and then you have the wide receivers.
Des Bryant, Bryant like made the catch and started doing celebrations.
Lollygagging to the line. You got the linemen that are just standing there looking at nothing.
It comes down to discipline. That's
exactly. And I blame it all. I blame it all on Garrett. And it's just, and it happened last year too in the Arizona game.
Yeah,
it happened the same way. We had the time. We had a timeout. We could have got one more play off to make it a little bit short of a field goal, and then they iced Bailey.
Oh yeah,
and then
didn't Garrett do it to himself?
Yeah. So it's
game.
Like, you look at it and you have to start thinking, it's all on Garrett.
It's got to be on the coach because he doesn't
that stuff that you have to work on in practice. You have to work on those situations in practice.
He hasn't had that. Jerry Jones does not hire like that physical Bill Parcells type coach, and since Parcells basically,
he needs that that get in your face kind of that coach, and I mean, I would love to see them hire Brian Billick.
Yeah,
I would love to see that. He's an offensive coach.
Yeah,
something that they need. You already got Rob Ryan on defense,
done amazing. I mean,
things even if you made him the head coach, I would take that because he's
I would
a
take
fiery.
that, but you just don't know if he's too much about defense like his brother is.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
you don't want to just because the Cowboys have one of the most explosive offenses in the league.
Yeah,
you don't want say Rob coming in and just completely changing that, not directing the offense. And
the thing that I don't like about Garrett, I think Garrett's a good coach. I just don't like him as a play caller.
Yeah,
I don't like him as a play caller.
And they've seen him as that for how long? 10 years now he's been there.
And
whatever.
It's like now this year he signed over the offensive coordinator to the offensive line coach, but he's still calling the play calls. So I mean, how does that work? How does that work? And the guy that they made offensive coordinator took his team to the Super Bowl with the Oakland Raiders.
Oh,
so I mean, being the offensive
Bill
coordinator.
Callahan?
Well, yeah, being the offensive coordinator. So he's been there before.
Yeah.
He's done it before.
He knows what he's doing.
He's a good, he's a good offensive coordinator. Obviously,
It's just like Garrett, he wants to be, just wants to do something.
Yeah.
He's bored on the sideline or something. I don't know what it is.
It's just amazing how the Cowboys, they're just not mentally strong. They're just not mentally strong.
And that starts at the head coach. That's where it starts, and that's where it ends at the head coach.
I mean, everybody says, they don't have a leader or anything, but supposedly Romo is becoming a leader.
No, you can see it in him. He's Everyone says he's the choker. He loses big games. Well, they need to get their facts right.
You know the thing. The funny thing is Romo has more game-winning drives than he has.
People need to get their facts right.
Exactly.
He's got, I think, 13 now.
13. So it's like, but then we got Tennessee and Buffalo. At Buffalo.
It's not a bad game. Buffalo's, they're like just Jekyll and Hyde, man. They get blown out by the Jets week 1. Back-to-back weeks, they blow out the teams they play.
Yeah, exactly.
They play the Patriots, 21-0 lead. Next thing you know, it's 52-21.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I'm sitting there watching.
I mean, you can't say anything about it because it is the Patriots. It is Tom Brady.
They just literally cannot beat them.
But it was amazing how you can have a 21-0 lead.
I know.
And blow it in the second half, give up 52 points.
It's like amazing just trying to think about what the Bills need to because they have a team, they can stay in game. It's just hard to figure out what they need, like a secondary maybe.
Yeah. I mean, and then if you look at the Tennessee side of it, Chris Johnson. I mean, talk about Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, I know. You can either have a 100-yard game or a 10-yard game. So it's like...
We'll have a 10-yard game, blame his offensive line, have 150 yards in the next game.
I mean, the guy wanted the most money, and then he goes into this, and he just...
Yeah, no, it's funny. The year he wanted the most money, he had the worst year of his career after that.
I mean, it's ridiculous how these players, think...
You can understand it from a running back perspective because they only have so many years in the league.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're going to be, named the best, running back in the league, and you want the money like the best running back in the league,
you got to prove it.
You have to prove it. For a guy, this guy was going for 2,000 yards, and he ended up getting it, right?
He got it that one year. Yeah.
And then he fell.
That was the year before his contract here.
So I mean, but who knows? I think Tennessee pulls that one out.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
I mean it is in Buffalo, but I have a feeling Tennessee's going to pull that out.
Yeah, Tennessee's they're like a gritty.
Well,
team.
It also depends. Is Jake Locker playing?
I think he should be coming back soon.
But if Jake Locker plays, I think Tennessee's got that game.
Yeah, I would.
Then we got your Baltimore Ravens playing the Houston Texans.
This is a
tough game.
This is where Flacco needs to prove that he's the quarterback he says he is.
He has to prove that he's going to be the leader of this team now.
This is his team now.
He said in the beginning of the year he's ready to take over this team.
This is his team now. With all the defensive injuries, he needs to prove that he is what he says he is.
Exactly.
He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
It is in Houston.
And Houston coming off an embarrassing loss Monday night to the Packers.
Yeah. I mean, I think Houston is kind of like, they have the weapons, of course.
They have a great team.
They got the best running back in the league. They got
the best wide receivers in the league.
Top 2 wide receiver in the league. Yeah. Then you look at the defense. Their defense is always he's a monster.
It's unbelievable what that guy can do.
That defense is the top 5
Wade
in the
Phillips
league.
completely turned that team.
It's amazing how he could go for the Cowboys. Being the 28th. 28th.
Was he the defensive coordinator there?
He wasn't when he came in. He was just a head coach.
Oh, okay.
Then I think it was 2 years later. Then they fired him. They fired the defensive coordinator and they made him the defensive coordinator.
And head coach.
He did change it, a lot. But it's still. I mean, he just didn't have the weapons like he does with Houston. Yeah. I mean, if he had with the team that the Cowboys have now, the defense that they have now, he would take it the same place that Rob Ryan's taking. The defense.
They're giving up passing yards a game is.
They're number 1.
72.
Yeah, they're one. I think it's 181. It's
unbelievable.
So I mean, with Mo Claiborne coming in, you got Brandon Carr coming in.
Their backfield is just.
I just think that Cowboys need one more pass rusher.
Yeah, they need someone on the opposite side of Warner.
And I also read that Rob Ryan wanted to draft J.J. Watt.
Wow.
And then they ended up trading up to get Mo Claiborne. I mean, you think about it, J.J. Watt is ridiculous.
But
you also got the top cornerback,
especially when you needed a cornerback.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, to have J.J. Watt and DeMarcus Ware, that would be, that'd be sickening.
Think about that.
Yeah, that'd be sickening. But I mean, Houston. I mean, now think about it. If they would have kept Mario Williams,
yeah.
And you think about it, they kept Mario Williams, then you got Mario Williams, J.J. Watt on the same side, and Antonio Smith.
Yeah,
and then you had Brian Cushing. I mean, now they're regretting. Yeah, they're regretting trading D'Amico Ryans now.
Yeah.
I mean, now they really don't have a middle.
I've always liked D'Amico. I always knew he was just like one of those solid players you can always count on every play.
Exactly. I mean, Brian Cushing's ridiculous.
Yeah, he really. I think that's going to be a big injury.
That's a bad injury.
Because I feel like if you're running the ball, once you get past that D line and there's no Brian Cushing there, you can run the ball on
exactly.
Now.
I mean, they got Jonathan Joseph as cornerback. He's a good cornerback.
He's a good corner.
So I mean, they still have a good team. Brian Cushing was kind of that leader.
Yeah, and you always feel like with last year, you just feel like some injury on your offense is going to come to one of those three best players they have, like Schaub, Johnson, or Foster. Like, you don't want it to happen because you want them to do good and stuff like that, but you just get that feeling because of the past couple of years with that team, with the injuries happening.
I mean, it's amazing. But next game we have is Cleveland and Indianapolis.
Indy's got to pull that out. I mean, Cleveland, they're easily the worst.
Better.
They're the best 1-5 team in football. People think they're a joke just because they're the Browns, but they don't watch football because they are in every single game.
Their defense is good.
Their defense is really good.
I think if their offense could play a little bit.
Whedon's starting to step up.
He's starting to step up,
He's starting to really develop.
They just lost the Ravens game.
Yeah, lost by 7. The week before that, they played
the Eagles. They lost by 1.
Yeah.
So it's like
they're in the games.
Exactly.
They just need a playmaker on offense.
And I mean, Indy's coming off a bad loss. I mean,
that was a bit. I think it was just because of the Chuck Strong game with the Packers. They were so emotionally high on that game.
Yeah,
and they just had
that was an amazing game.
That was
I watched that game.
Yeah,
that was an amazing game.
It was like bigger than the game of football. That game.
I mean, Reggie Wayne went off. Yeah. He went nuts in that game.
Well, because him and Pagano have had a background for like over 10 years. So Reggie Wayne just did everything he could for his coach. Yeah, that's what you like to see, like a team rally around their coach like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Indianapolis pulls it out.
I think they will too.
Because coming off that loss,
it's going to be close because the Browns always keep it close. But I just feel Andrew Luck is just going to have a better day than
definitely
something.
Definitely. Next game, Arizona and Minnesota.
Oh, it's going
to be a good game.
That's going to be a good game.
I mean, Minnesota's been playing everybody tough right now.
Minnesota's like one of those sleeper teams I really like.
Yeah.
There's just something about them, like the grittiness, like they just don't give up.
Yeah.
Ponder, Ponder's really developed in this past year.
Yeah.
He had an awful year last year, but you got to remember, there's no training camp, there's no drills. He didn't know anything about the
team. Peterson got hurt.
Adrian Peterson was hurt.
Now he's starting to run the ball good.
And Ponder didn't even start the season last year.
No,
then he just come in week 7 or something like that. He's taken off.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, is Cobb back?
I think his rib injury is pretty bad.
Yeah,
there was like a separation or something. It wasn't pretty.
I mean, and then you have Skelton that's hurt too.
I don't like Skelton.
I don't either.
I do not.
I don't think
when he's on the field, I just feel like bad things are happening for the Cardinals.
And they just put their running back Williams on the IR. They
had a good run, but I don't think it's going to last.
Beanie Wells on IR. So I think
worst offensive line in the game,
and it's in Minnesota. So I think
that's
Minnesota's a tough place to play.
Oh yeah, with that dome, loudness.
But
all the Cardinals have is that defense.
Exactly.
It's a good defense, but I mean, you can't win with you need something on
Patrick
offense.
Peterson is awesome.
Oh my, he is.
I love that guy.
He can make any interception pick six just like that.
Exactly. He's got speed, man.
It's unbelievable.
Then we got Washington and the Giants.
Oh man, that's in the Giants.
That's in MetLife. That's a big game for the Giants.
That's a big game,
and it's a big game for Washington.
That's a big game for RG3.
But I think it's an even bigger game for the Giants because they are 0-2 in the division already.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is a must-win for the Giants.
You can have the 4-2 record, but if you're another division person that's tied with you, they're getting in the head of you because of that division.
I just, this is a big game.
This is a really
big
game for the Giants.
And you know what? I mean, the last couple of weeks. I mean, Robert Griffin III.
He's taken off on a whole
last week
level.
He had 138 yards rushing.
That one run with that 75-yard run.
I mean, and the sick thing is with him, he can run the ball, he can bootleg, throw the ball on the run, and he can sit in the pocket and still throw the ball. He's like Vic, but he's not like Vic. He's more careful than Vic. I think he's better than Vic.
He's more careful than Vic with his body. He knows.
Vic is already up to 12 turnovers, between
fumbles and the picks and just everything.
I mean, and he throws bad picks.
They're always bad.
And I don't see that with Robert Griffin III.
No, he'll throw it away or run out of bounds if there are a couple of yard gains.
I mean, after that concussion, he showed last week that he can, get out of bounds. He can slide.
Exactly.
That's when he doesn't need to but
he can stand in the pocket and he can bomb the ball. He can throw it.
I mean, you look at the Giants. The Giants, front line is supposed to be the best in the league.
I'm not seeing it this year,
and they're just going MIA. I mean, last week JPP kind of came up. Yeah, he definitely stepped up, but Justin Tuck, I haven't seen.
He's been
I feel
disappeared.
He disappeared.
JPP has 2 sacks, 1 sack on
3 sacks. I think he's got 3.5, maybe 4. But I mean, Tuck's got 0.
Wow, that's.
I mean,
you wouldn't even think of that.
That's what I'm saying.
With JPP probably getting double teamed the whole game, you would not.
So I mean, and this with these guys going MIA, they're showing how mediocre their secondary is.
Exactly. Griffin's going to run all over that. The Giants have never had linebackers. As once he gets past that front 4, he'll be gone.
I mean, you have Corey Webster's been getting burned all season. All season.
Yep.
So I mean, he started playing better. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago? He started playing better, but I think Washington pulls this out.
And I love how
they always play the Giants pretty tough.
I believe when I saw it was like a power rankings or something on ESPN. Someone put the Giants number 1.
I mean, just because they beat
the big game on the 49ers, it's people have bad games, Let's
and you look at that game. Alex Smith had a terrible game.
I'm not taking anything away from the Giants.
Any of those,
they are not the best team in the NFL.
No, no way.
They are not the best team in the NFL.
We got Green Bay and St. Louis. I think
Green Bay heated up.
Green Bay is hot right now. I mean, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions for Aaron Rodgers. I think they definitely pull this one out.
I think they've.
I mean, it's in St. Louis, which kind of makes it a little bit tougher. But I think there's no way Aaron Rodgers loses this game.
They're back to where they are.
Yeah,
they're the Green Bay Packers again.
Then we got New Orleans and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay always plays New Orleans tough.
Yeah,
and it's in Tampa Bay.
And they just came off a nice win against the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I mean New Orleans. They've been slipping this year. I mean,
I feel like
supposedly Jonathan Villas is supposed to be playing. So right there kind of gives him
the motivation, and stuff. I just feel like
he's their leader
this year. Right now, I just feel like they can't win on the road.
Not at all. I mean, it's really starting to show what a head coach does.
Exactly.
When you don't have him the whole year,
they would not be 1-4, 1-5 right now.
Not at all. Then you got Jets in New England.
That's going to be
big division game,
blowout for the Patriots,
and it's in New England. I think the Patriots take.
You hear Rex opening his mouth again already?
Did you see that they're actually thinking about putting Tim Tebow as running back?
Wow.
Yeah.
Sean Green only just had 200 yards, but
I mean,
see, this is my problem with the Jets. Just some of the moves the things they say just throw me off so much. Sean Green just had the best game of his career, and now they're talking about Tebow as a running back.
I know.
You're just all that confidence Sean Green just had from that game is gone because he's going to lose to his job to Tebow.
That's definitely going to be a blowout.
It's going to be a blowout.
Then Jacksonville and Oakland.
Talk about exciting.
Oh yeah, whoopee.
I'm going Oakland just because
it's in
Jacksonville
Oakland.
Just cannot score.
Yeah, and it's in Oakland.
Yeah, it's in Oakland. They just cannot score.
I mean, if Darren McFadden runs the ball well. This is definitely
McFadden's.
I mean, Carson Palmer is just actually showing that he's back to playing.
Yeah, he can play again.
Football.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Oakland pulls this game out. And then Sunday night game, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Big division game.
It's a big AFC North game. I don't know who I would be rooting for. Probably the Bengals just because of my feelings about the Steelers.
But I mean, Pittsburgh did take a bad loss last week.
Yeah, but their defense is getting pretty old, just as old as that Ravens defense.
And Palomalu's probably not going to play again.
He's not playing again.
So I think Cincinnati.
Palomalu's the difference maker on that team.
It's in Cincinnati too. Yeah. I think Cincinnati.
Crowd's going to be going crazy.
Their defense is very good.
It's really good.
And then you got Andy Dalton and AJ Green. So I
Jarvis
think
Green-Ellis has been doing great for them too.
Yeah. So I think Cincinnati pulls this game out.
Yeah, definitely.
And then last but not least, the Monday night game. Another big division game. Detroit and Chicago.
Wow.
In Chicago.
I don't know what Detroit...
My thing with Detroit is everybody thinks Stafford is good. And I don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is. Because the reason why everybody thinks that he's good is because he has Calvin Johnson.
Exactly.
There's quarterbacks that make wide receivers better. But then there's also wide receivers that make quarterbacks better. And I think Calvin Johnson can make anybody a better quarterback.
So even when Stafford was out, Sean Hill would step in and do fine.
Exactly.
And it's because of the wide receivers.
And just some of the throws that Stafford, makes is just questionable, and like the sidearm throws.
The year he had this year is just unacceptable.
I mean, Calvin Johnson has no touchdowns the whole season. We're
unheard of.
What is this? Week 6 now? Week 7?
Week 7,
and this guy does not have a touchdown.
All you got to do is throw to him.
Yeah,
like I was sitting there last week watching their game. And the one catch I actually saw him have, he's double coverage, and he goes up and gets it. I don't get why they don't do that more.
I believe I can go out there and make just throw, and I can't even throw past 20 yards.
Exactly.
And I think I can
catch it. He'll catch anything. I don't get it.
I don't know, but I think that's it for our Tom and Jerry show here. We'll probably be back next week.
Stay tuned. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening, and have a good day.
Talking about football, baseball. We'll probably be into the World Series then. And then we'll get a little bit Football Friday.
Football Friday next week. Tune in, guys.
Yep, Tom and Jerry Show. I'm Jerry.
I'm Tom.
Be breezy.
You've been listening to another edition of the Tom and Jerry Show.